I live in North Carolina. If you've been told that the gas shortage is a myth by places like the New York Times, and no, there aren't gas stations running out of gas, and there aren't long lines, and there aren't high prices, it's a lie. I'm living it. So is everyone else. Everyone driving around trying to find gas. Yeah, it's crazy. It's exactly what happens when there's a gas shortage. And no, you don't talk yourself into this kind of gas shortage. This is not a panic where everyone just goes out and buys gas. I mean, that can happen. But that doesn't stop the trucks from coming in now, does it? So, what's going on is, as you've probably heard, there's been this hack attack on this Colonial Pipeline, and you can see here where it goes. It basically goes up the entire southeast. So, it's really affecting us all, but especially by the time you get up to North Carolina. Because we depend a lot on this pipeline, and it's more difficult for us to get the pipelines coming down from north. And doesn't help that Biden canceled the Keystone Pipeline. Maybe more people should be talking about that. And then there's all the crap he's doing, basically creating artificial unemployment so you can't find people to drive trucks and things like that. But what it was a ransomware attack on the computer systems that run this pipeline. Now, of course, they're trying to blame the Russians, the Russian government, Russian intelligence operatives. Why would a nation state want to run a ransomware attack? Someone explain that logic to me. I mean, yes, Russia engages in a lot of cyber attacks. I'm not saying they're lily white and innocent and, have halos and wings and things like that. No. They're bad. But they don't do this kind of attack because that's not the kind of attack that benefits them or any other nation state. If you can get software onto a critical system, what are you going to do? If you're a nation state, you're going to spy on it. You're going to take the information and you're going to use it for your own intelligence operations. The U.S. government does that all the time. Don't go thinking the American government is any exception. No. We know that from Snowden. So, I was looking for good information on who did this and why, and around all the hacker forums and everything, I was able to get what I thought was a good picture, and that was confirmed by this Krebs on Security article that he posted yesterday. And Brian Krebs is really credible for this sort of thing, so it kind of confirmed everything I'd kind of sleuthed on my own, and he, as usual, does a good job of putting all of this into one article, letting you know what's going on there. So this is a ransomware group called DarkSide. And the FBI has confirmed that DarkSide is responsible. Now, DarkSide, they are Russian speakers, apparently, or at least some of the main ones are. But that doesn't mean that they're doing this at the behest of Russian intelligence. They're just the hacker groups that are doing this. And I've been trying to tell you people this for years. You go on the dark web and you look for a lot of these hacker groups, and they're pretty darn sophisticated. DarkSide has a customer service helpline. They post press releases to the dark web. They really are very much, a corporate criminal enterprise. Without the actual legal corporation type of thing going on there. So he looks at them and what they're all about. And he relies a lot on Flashpoint, a New York City-based intelligence firm, which says, what DarkSide tries to do is what they call big game hunting. They're looking for organizations that have tons of money to pay the ransom. That's what they want. They want money. And in fact, one of their press releases on their dark website said, quote, "We are apolitical. We do not participate in geopolitics. do not need to tie us with a defined government and look for other motives. Our goal is to make money and not creating problems for society. From today, we introduce moderation and check each company that our partners want to encrypt to avoid social consequences in the future. Yeah, they have clients that use their software to go and engage in ransomware attacks, and they're saying, yeah, maybe we should vet these people a little more. Because they're not looking to take down society and the economy and everything else. They just want the money. That's what they're all about. And Flashpoint says, this will be consistent with DarkSide's earlier activities, which include several big game hunting attacks, whereby attackers target an organization that likely possesses the financial means to pay the ransom demanded by the attackers. So, they call this ransomware as a service, although in the case of DarkSide, some are actually saying you should call it ransomware as a corporation, because they may not be legally incorporated because they're a criminal enterprise, but yeah, they're set up exactly like one. And DarkSide says it targets only big companies and forbids affiliates from dropping ransomware on organizations in several industries. And that's like medicine, such as hospitals. We've seen cases where hospitals have been hit with ransomware. They say they won't do that. Funeral services, education, nonprofit organizations, government sector. Now, they are a criminal enterprise. So you decide for yourself how much you want to believe them, but one thing they do is the double extortion. So, when they first started doing ransomware, it was just encrypting all the files in place. And then say, hey, if you want to decrypt them, send us money and we'll, give you the decryption key and you'll decrypt the files. Well, now they're doing something extra. They're grabbing an unencrypted copy for themselves. And they're saying, okay, yeah, you can pay us money and have them decrypted. You can pay us some more money and we won't release them. We promise we'll delete them. Honest engine. And you can trust us because we're criminals. Yeah, so. Well, there is an honor amongst thieves thing, I guess. If they don't do that and they get a reputation for not doing that, someone pays it and then they leak their information anyway, no one else is going to believe them and no one else is going to pay them for that. So they do have an incentive to do it, but not as much as a legitimate company would. We only attack companies that can pay the requested amount. We do not want to kill your business. Before any attack, we carefully analyze your accountancy and determine how much you can pay based on your net income. Yep, these are targeted attacks. And you can ask all your questions in the chat before paying, and our support will answer them. Yes, you can talk to their customer support. He shows an example a little further down. And they'll do things like decrypt one test file just to prove they can do it. Guaranteed to provide decryptors after payment, as well as support in case of problems. And guaranteed deletion of all uploaded data from Tor CDNs after payment. If you refuse to pay, we will publish all your data and store it on Tor CDNs for at least 6 months. We will send notification of your leak to the media and your partners and customers, and we will never provide you with decryptors. And this is an interesting development because one of the things they've been saying is, look, don't pay the hackers. If you're a big company and you get hit, you can get your information back by restoring from backup. But that costs in time and, lost money. You're not actually operating while all that's going on, and it may take a few weeks. So let's say it takes $20 million for you to restore from backup. And then they come along and say, well, pay us $7 million and you'll go right back. And so for a while there, they were going, well, that's a deal. I'm going to pay the $7 million. Now they've gotten a little more savvy about it. They're like, we really don't want to give money to criminals because we don't want to embolden them to do this again. So they started doing this to say, hey, look, even if you don't pay us, even if you try to restore this from backup yourselves, we got your data. We're going to leak it. So let's see. And also says high trust level of our targets. They pay us and they know they're going to receive the decryption tools. They also know that we download data, a lot of data. That's why the percent of our victims who pay the ransom is so high, and it takes so little time to negotiate. Well, also, they kind of threaten them. They say if you don't pay in 24 hours or whatever, we'll jack up the price on it. So, and they've also launched the capability of doing DDoS attacks against people who refuse to pay. Just winning, hearts and minds everywhere. I'm sure their mamas are really proud. It says, now our team and partners encrypt many companies that are trading on NASDAQ and other stock exchanges. If the company refuses to pay, we're ready to provide information before the publication so that it will be possible to earn in the reduction price of shares. Remember, they're in this to make money. They'd rather you pay them than release the information. I don't know why I get more dehydrated when it rains, but yeah, the sun went away. We had a couple of sunny days, but they also started recruiting new affiliates, and apparently it was one of these affiliates that hit the pipeline. And they say in their advertisement, yes, they advertise on the dark web. We have grown significantly in terms of the client base and in comparison to other projects, so we are ready to grow our team and a number of our affiliates in 2 fields. And they also put out a call for network penetration testing. We're looking for one person or a team. We'll adapt you to the work environment and provide work. High profit cuts, ability to target networks that you can't handle on your own, new experience and stable income. When you use our product and the ransom is paid, we guarantee fair distribution of funds. And you can trust us because we're criminal scum. A panel for monitoring results for your target. We only accept networks where you intend to run our payload. This is from Intel 471, which is a cybersecurity firm, and they looked at a negotiation between the DarkSide crew and an unnamed victim company that is apparently worth $15 billion. And they were hit with a $30 million ransom demand back in January. And so it just shows you what it is they go through. So you can pay now or after it doubles at a certain amount of time. Oh yeah, 4 hours and 44 minutes left. Or maybe that's 4 days, 44 hours, 51. I don't know. But anyway, at that time, it doubles to 60 million. So act now. Get these low prices. So yes, we have screenshots of the chat. It's like, how do I know you can decrypt our data? We'll decrypt a sample file. When you receive payment, you will not publish or sell exfiltrated data? Of course not. You will get access to a server with data and will delete it yourself. And we absolutely promise we haven't copied it anywhere else. You might detect that I'm slightly skeptical of this. I don't know. Maybe they're, like I said, they just want the money. They really do. But if they think that the data they got from you is pretty valuable and they can make some extra money from it doing something else, who knows? All I'm saying, not accusing anyone. I would never accuse cyber criminal scum of engaging in other cyber crimes. No. That just wouldn't be proper. So, okay, thank you. Some information online says your group steals data. Did you steal our data? Yes. Come right out and say it. This is a lot of money. My management needs a better understanding of what data you may have taken. Can you provide proof you have our data? Yes, we'll provide a sample. So they ended up offering $2.25 million for the decryption tools, and also agreeing not to post information about this incident, not to sell, share, or retain copies. and also information on how you're able to gain access. Well, that wasn't good enough for them. I mean, they're getting, what was it, $2.25 million for basically doing nothing. Certainly not anything that gives a benefit to anyone else. Certainly not actually being useful for society. You know, not putting food on anyone's table or anyone like that. You're just stealing the money. It's extortion. Yeah. It's kind of like government in that way. Yep, pay your tax money or else. That's pretty much what this is. What's the diff? Someone tell me what the difference is. So, anyway, they took their generous offer was to drop it to $28,750. And they complains that hasn't moved the price much. So we need additional time. Can you extend the deadline to Friday? I don't think so. You aren't poor and aren't children if you fucked up and have to meet the consequences. See, it's your fault because you didn't properly secure your network. You know, you forgot to lock your door. And that means that someone is perfectly justified in walking in and stealing all your stuff. It's your fault. So they come back, they've gotten the authority to pay $4.75 million. They drop it to $12 million. So they're negotiating, they're haggling. And they end up agreeing to terms and things like that. And I think the final term here was $11 million. And their extortionists concur and promise not to attack or help anyone else attack the company's network going forward. So. And he goes into more of the history of it. And we've talked about the Revel before, which is also known as Sodinokibi. I don't know how to pronounce that. But it's also considered to be the newer name for Gandcrab, a ransomware as a service that closed up shop in 2019 after bragging it had extorted more than $2 billion. And Krebs says, experts say ransomware attacks will continue to grow in sophistication, frequency, and cost unless something is done to disrupt the ability of crooks to get paid for such crimes. According to a report late last year from Coveware, the average ransomware payment in the third quarter of 2020 was $233,817, up 31% from the second quarter of last year. And almost 2,400 US-based governments, healthcare facilities, and schools were victims of ransomware in 2020. A group of tech industry heavyweights lent their imprimatur to a task force that delivered an 81-page report to the Biden administration on ways to stymie the ransomware industry. They urged the White House to make finding, frustrating, and apprehending ransomware crooks a priority, and to designate the current scourge of digital extortion as a national security threat. But the fact is, as long as they do everything right, how you gonna catch them? They're doing all this over the dark web. You know, they're behind layers and layers of privacy secure systems. So, I mean, unless they slip up somehow, how are you really going to do it? The thing we really need to do is secure this infrastructure. And the more important the infrastructure is, like a gas or oil pipeline, the more we need to secure it. But I keep saying this. I've been saying this for years, and we just keep seeing it. Security needs to be baked into the design of everything. And we also need government to stop screwing up with this energy policy and saying, oh, well, we'll just shut down the Keystone Pipeline because that helps the environment somehow. Or, we'll shut down these, nuclear power plants that are clean and safe. And then, oh no, we have to do something with all this waste. Well, the waste was sitting there in a reactor. You could use it. But no, nuclear bad somehow. Well, what do you think's happened from California and all these places shutting down reactors that still have like 40 years of life in them? What do you think it's being replaced with? It's not solar and wind, because those can't come anywhere close to replacing the quantity of power that nuclear provides reliably over a period of time. Where are they going? Coal and oil. So more oil is having to be used for electricity. That means less oil going to the refineries for gasoline to go to the pumps. Then you got the driver shortage and all that. Yeah, I mean, if this had happened just on its own, I mean, it'd be inconvenient, but it wouldn't be the disaster that it is. I don't want to oversell it. It's probably not that much of a disaster. By the end of the week, things will probably be back to normal. But yeah, I mean, it's been this huge problem here. Gas is up over $5 a gallon if you can find it. You know, it's just crazy. So, and I don't really know how much further it's going to go down. Are we going to see it below $2 a gallon the way we did under Trump? I'm kind of doubtful. I'm doubtful about that. I don't think anything Biden's done has been good for anything so far. I just think we're in for more high prices, more inflation, more unemployment, more screw-ups. And you won't be able to blame it on Trump. Sorry. The era of blaming all your problems on Trump is over. It's all down to you. The buck has to stop somewhere. And realistically, it stops with you. I don't know how much longer you politicians and the news media are going to be able to snow people over this. Because they're getting wise. They're getting wise. So I guess I'm always optimistic that things will eventually turn around and get better. And it looks like my prediction is that the end of 2021 will be better than the start. Because people are getting fed up with all the COVID crap. And they're like, look, we have a vaccine now. We're getting vaccinated. You know, enough with the mask thing already. Things like that. You know, let us go back to work. Stop inflating everything. Stop driving prices up. Stop, screwing up things at the border so that goods can't get through. But, oh, but we need refugees to be able to get through. Okay, well, can goods get through too? Can we have oil, please? Can we? Can we be like Oliver Twist, asking, please, can we have, food and oil delivered up from Mexico like we used to? Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. Thank you so very much. Comments for the Common God, shares for the Share Throne. Like, subscribe, and the bell. See if we can get these videos up in the algorithm because I think people need to hear them more than ever. Thank you so very much. Until next time, stay strong and be free.